Irreverent, entertaining, cool. You're listening to LA Talk Radio.
You're listening to Question Reality with Priscilla Leona, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Hi, welcome to Question Reality. I'm Priscilla Leona, producer and host of this show, and we are coming to you live from Los Angeles, California. For 9 years, we have been ranked the #1 entertainment advice career show on Google and worldwide. Now, this show is for you if you are questioning your career reality by currently pursuing a career in the entertainment industry. And our guests on the show include Emmy winners, Grammy winners, Tony Award winners, reality TV stars, producers, directors, casting directors, talent managers, screenwriters, actors, singers, songwriters, comedians. The list goes on. And then we throw a darn entertainment attorney on towards the end of the year, just in case you made it to that level, which we hope you have. Our guests now help you by providing tips, advice, and resource information on how and what it takes to successfully pursue a career in a wide variety of show business careers, as you clearly heard. And all of the guests on the show have been selected because they're at different stages of their careers, and that means that we'll definitely have someone who will be able to answer all of your show business career questions. If you missed any of our shows or need information about a specific entertainment career, please go to our archive page, which is on the latalkradio.com website, and search for our show, which is Question Reality, or by my name, Leona, and you can download and interview shows 24 hours a day. All of the Question Reality shows are also available for free on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.com, and they're under the podcast section. And please make sure that you get our newly designed free mobile app. It's on the homepage of the latalkradio.com website, and it's located on the right-hand side towards the bottom. And finally, if you want to be a guest or refer someone to be on the show to promote themselves or their products, and just showcase yourself, but basically genuinely help, oh, the cocktail's kicking in now, genuinely help listeners with sage career advice. Hopefully you can provide great career advice. We are currently booking for 2018, so go to our official website. That is questionrealityradioshow.com, not latalkradio.com, questionrealityradioshow.com, and click the contact link to submit for consideration. Now, we have some great guests today. Ooh la la. I think that's a Lady Gaga song. We are very excited to have these two handsome, I go first for, all right, they are hot-looking guys. That's what I'm all about right now. Right up in here, I'm all about that. But very attractive men in an attractive industry doing attractive things. They are, number one, they are going to, one of our little team members missing today, Josh McClinney, and he got a big old project that hopefully we're going to hear about today. So we miss you, Josh McClinney. We were hoping you'd be here today. But we have one of the duo. We're going to be talking today about a show. It's called Two Guys, One Trek, and it is a Star Trek audio podcast, and it is the latest project from the, I'm not saying it, the self-proclaimed nerd duo, Ira Heinichen and Josh McClinney, who isn't here. Oh, we miss you, Josh. They are the creators of this project, and Two Guys, One Trek, what it will do for you, what it is going to do is take you on a trek, episode by episode, through the 1960s original series, Star Trek. Now, as I was writing these questions, I was wondering, how many times am I going to be saying Star Trek or Trek today? It's like a lot of Treks going on. But I love it because my husband is a huge Star Trek fan. So he is listening in right now, and he'll be asking me questions. Not that I'm going to ask, because we have enough questions to ask the guys today. Now, this show, Two Guys, One Trek, it features some of the best and worst shenanigans of the shows. They have gangsters and witches and Spock's family, and which I actually, we briefly saw them in the Star Trek original series, but then my husband and I have recently been recording the animated series, and he made a very interesting observation. He said, well, the animated series only went for 2 years. So in actuality, if you think about it, that completes the 5-year journey. And I never thought about that. I thought, oh my gosh, that's right, because the original was 3 and then the animated was 2. So they literally did in their journey. There you go. It was an epiphany. Okay, so and on this animated show, they really do a lot of Spock's family on there. Like there was this one episode where he went back to his I can't remember exactly what happened, but he went back to his home world, and there was like he saw himself as a little boy, and then there was like all kind. So anyway, they feature Spock's family on Two Guys, One Trek. I don't know if they go into again. I haven't unfortunately been able to listen to all the episodes, but we'll find out from Ira what is going on with Spock's family. But they also they also feature Nazis. Now, I don't know how they fit these things in. Nazis, space amoebas, homicidal computers, and, wait for it, Tribbles! Love Tribbles. Love.
Well,
I don't know why we can't have them as pets. I really can't. I don't know why.
California laws.
Yeah, exactly.
They're just horrible.
So we'll be talking about that today. And then joining us is Larry Nemecek, a.k.a. Dr. Trek. And if you don't know Dr. Trek, you've got to go to his websites and look him up. Now, he has a lot of websites. First, it's LarryNemecek.com. Let me spell that for you. Larry, obviously, Larry, Nemecek.com. He also has a website, portal47.net. He has Larry Nemecek's Trekland on Facebook, the Trek Files on Facebook, Larry Nemecek at Twitter, and he has, of course, he's got to have a YouTube channel. So Larry Nemecek channel on YouTube. And just because we missed it, we want to make sure we get you the website for Two Guys, One Trek. And that's the website, twoguys1trek.com. And they're also on there as Instagram, Two Guys, One Trek, and Facebook. I think on Facebook they're under Josh and Ira, not Two Guys, One Trek. Josh and Ira, and you can email them at info@joshandira.com if you have any questions after this interview. Now, real quick, joining Ira is, as I said, Dr. Trek. We're calling him Dr. Trek now. Dr. Trek is an author, an editor, a host, an interviewer, a producer, an archivist, a podcaster, a blogger, an actor, a consultant. He is the author of the classic Star Trek Next Generation Companion and Stellar Cartography Maps book set. He's the founder of Portal 47, monthly 9-point deep dive fan experience, a host of the new Roddenberry, The Trek Files. It's a weekly podcast, and producer of the Khan of Wrath documentary. He was an actor on Star Trek Continues, playing the character Dr. McCoy. He's a Trek pundit worldwide and spokesman for nonprofit enterprise in space. Now, Larry Nemecek, really, this man eats and sleeps and works and lives and breathes Trekland. My God, welcome, guys.
Hey, Priscilla, it's good to hear you again.
Oh, my gosh. Now, since people don't know your voices, oh, my gosh. Oh, there was an applause. I missed it.
We've got sound effects. Oh.
We did have some applause there. It sounded like static, but it was actually applause.
That was the studio audience.
That was the studio audience.
Okay. I thought the eagle had landed on the moon or something. Okay.
I know it sounds like that. It sounds better when you're in the studio. It actually sounds like real clapping. But I wanted to ask you guys both, first and foremost, how did the two of you meet? Because Larry, it was you that recommended Two Guys, One Trek to be a guest on the show. How did you guys meet? And because people don't know your voices yet, let's say it's Dr. Trek, it's Ira, so they know who's talking. So let's start with...
You can still call me Larry, though. I mean, you mean to go totally that way. Larry's still a good fit, yeah.
How about if I do some mixing? I'll mix it up a little. Sorry, Larry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, why did I let you ask me about Ira and Josh? So why don't I let Ira start this?
Oh, but you recommended it, so I wanted to know how you actually found out about the show.
I found out about the show the way you do all good things. I found it on Twitter and Facebook and just enjoyed. And then I forget how it came up, but you said something about, I've heard of them. And I said, well, you should have them on your show. And boom.
But you're the one that told me about them. That's how I heard about them.
I got you hooked up because you didn't have a clue about getting in touch with them. Yes, so we made it happen.
This explains why my ears were burning several months ago.
There you go.
Someone was talking about us.
Thank gosh, Dr. Trek, because the wild turkey has depleted all of my memory cells. I don't even remember that, but okay. Got him on the show. Now, let me ask you, we'll start with Ira here because we gave a brief description of what the show is about, but can you tell us in your own words some additional highlights about the show that would make non-Star Trek fans want to listen to the show? Or is it specifically geared towards the Trek and sci-fi types?
That is a great question, actually. The whole impetus behind doing this show, I've been a lifelong Star Trek fan. When I was 4 or 5 years old, I had two favorite movies. One of them, of course, was the animated Robin Hood, the Disney animated Robin Hood. And the other movie was Star Trek 4, for whatever reason.
Which one was that? Wrath of Khan?
That was the one with
the whales.
Oh my God, that's
the
my
one
favorite
with the whales.
Yeah, this is
episode,
back when you had to rent VCRs from the video store, when nobody owned their own VCR. So whatever it was that was in my DNA, I've been a Star Trek fan my whole life. Josh, on the other hand, came to Star Trek very recently, within the past 3 or 4 years or so. And
you say came to Star Trek. Are you meaning you brought him into the light and he never knew about Star Trek other than hearing about it?
Actually.
That's what I got. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that he didn't know about what Star Trek was. He was aware of it for sure, but it had never really, it had never really gelled. And we've, as you mentioned, Josh and I have known each other for a long time. Josh and I have been working together for the better part of a decade now. And I had been trying to kind of soft sell him on Star Trek for many, many years. And I think like all good relationships, I just wore him down finally. And told him like, dude, you need to just do this. And so
you're missing too many cultural touchstones if you don't know your Star Trek, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
That is absolutely correct. You're missing out on all these pop culture references, my friend, and just good storytelling.
Is he a millennial or is because I find that I find a lot of millennials, or the one after that, which I'm not sure, Gen Z, they have no idea. Like if you even said Spock, I've done this recently. I've said, Spock, or I've made a Star Trek reference, or my husband has. They look at us like we were saying foreign words. So that's why I was asking if he was a millennial or
I think both Josh and I are technically considered millennials, though we are on that very early cusp. Not to betray our ages,
okay.
But we would be the very early edge of the millennials, which, we kind of grew up in the 90s. Like I grew up around the Next Generation. I think I was 4 when the Next Generation premiered, so I was a little young there, but I kind of caught it towards the end when I got old enough. Was big into Deep Space Nine, all that
7
kind of
years.
stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
So he
exactly.
just-
By the
so he
time that
just
show was
really
wrapping
did-
up, I was about the right age for it.
Yeah, so he knew about it, but it was like,
It
So
kind of went
you-
over his head. Yeah, he, by his own admission, it was just what he says now is he wasn't ready. But anyway, so he had got kind of into watching it on his own, but he had still never watched the original series, and we were kind of looking for a project to do. We'd been doing a comedy. We've done a lot of projects together, and we were just looking for something new to do. And I think it was on a golf course in Los Angeles, as all good ideas are born. And we were talking about the fact that we should sit down and watch the original series and eat food and drink together. And then we're like, well, crap, why don't we put up some microphones and record us doing that? And that's how the show was born. So that is a long way to answer your question, which was, is this a podcast that is for new people or just Star Trek fans? And the answer is both, because my whole hook for Two Guys, One Trek was the fact that Josh had never watched the original series. He knew almost nothing about the original series. He knew there was someone named Kirk. He knew there was someone named Spock. He thought that Bones might have been Uhura's character. There was some confusion there over who that person was. If you listen to the very first episode that we recorded, it's amazing because of course I asked him what he knows, knowing full well he knows nothing. You only get to watch a show for the first time once, right? Like that is magic. To me, I
envy that. I envy people that are still that. I would love. It's like anybody that
100%.
Like I watched people watching Romeo and Juliet, envying the little girl who didn't know what was going to happen. It's like if you could go back,
that you don't know what's going to happen, right? Like it gives me goosebumps. It gives me goosebumps, and I knew that if just the thought of that was giving me goosebumps, that it might be worth recording, and so that's how it started. So the answer to that is. I am early on in the show. We call me the Trek old timer, and Josh is the Trek new timer. And there's kind of something for each person, to hook into. I would say most of our listeners so far have been already existing Trek fans, but there are several people that have told us that they've watched the original show with our podcast for the first time because they were listening.
Now, let me ask you, you used the word fan. So my next question is, do you and Josh regularly interact with your fans? And if so, how do you encourage it? What is your
Oh my God, yes. We are imminently approachable. We are on Twitter all the time. Facebook, we're on Facebook, but we have a Facebook page, which is so Facebook pages have been so buried recently with the whole changes to the algorithm. So we're thinking about maybe setting up a group. But for right now, it's mostly on Twitter and then on Instagram, actually. We post on Instagram every day. We're just about a year into being on Instagram and meeting a ton of people there and loving it.
What do you feel is the best social platform for a audio podcast rather than a web series? Mm-hmm.
Right. That's a very good question. I have to imagine that Facebook groups are probably great for that. I could probably even kick that over to Larry, because I know that you're involved in several Facebook,
yes,
Facebook
Dr. Track,
organizations.
Take it over, Dr. Track.
Well, because to answer for Two Guys One Track, we're mostly on Twitter. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Larry.
And Twitter's great, and you can have that. You feel like you're having one-to-one, and then if it branches out, then that's cool. But there's still a one-to-one there, and people can just chime in. But on Facebook groups is the way to go. But did I hear you say you were using Instagram? Did I dream?
Yeah, we have.
How's that going? How do you do that?
It's been going great. We haven't been doing it for a year yet. I was just looking at it today. We started in June of last year, posting on the regular, but we post there every day. We post. I love scouring the internet for funny or poignant or just colorful, like Star Trek related images. Like, oh my God, the original series is Instagram gold because of all of those gel colors that they're projecting on the walls and the backdrops all the time. So we just either something funny or something that makes you think that you love Star Trek. We just post every day, and then you use hashtags. We use the Star Trek hashtag, and then the series, whether it's hashtag TOS for the original series or something along those lines. And people have just been organically finding us. We have almost 1,000 followers. That has really been built up just in the past 8 months or so. Literally because we post every day, and people know that they can find us every day.
Exactly.
And that's been awesome.
I'm sorry, Larry, I'm trying to make sure, because I get in trouble if I don't end the show on time. So I want to make sure that both of you, I get reprimanded all the time. And because
you're such a rookie, Priscilla.
I know. Well, it's because I could talk for 3 hours, literally, but it doesn't work this way. I only get 50 minutes, and I have to start wrapping up at 45, or else I know what's coming. All right. So Larry had said something about how do you do that? And that just prompted a question that my audience would like to know if they've never done it, which is how do you start an audio podcast? What type of equipment do you need? How do you fund it? We just talked about the social media platforms that you felt was best to promote it. But how do you start an audio podcast? What type of equipment? How do you fund it?
Well, I may throw this over to Ira, but I'll just tell you real briefly. With the Trek Files, that's a Roddenberry podcast, and I was lucky enough to walk in with the infrastructure there and not have to self-produce it myself. Rod Roddenberry and John Champion, who's a podcast host with Mission Log. I've guested on many, the Trek FM network. I've been lucky to do that and haven't had to bear it. But that said, you can really run the gamut. From the simple to the complex, have more simple equipment, and go all out. So there's really a wide range, and it seems like podcasting is becoming more and more popular and widespread, and you would think that there'd be so many duplicating angles and themes for shows, but people keep coming up with original ideas, like Two Guys, One Trek, and our Trek Files is really interesting, but we've got the cooperation of the Roddenberrys letting us go through their files, pulling things out to talk about. And that's our angle.
So you can do a podcast. You could do So the person who wants to do a podcast, Larry and Ira, you both are saying that you can do an audio podcast in your home if you have the equipment.
Mm-hmm.
What equipment?
100%.
What equipment do you need? Like, you're a starter. What do you suggest? What software app? What kind of computer that would work best for a nice, clear, crisp show?
What do you use, Ira?
Yeah, we use Blue Snowballs, which are they're less than $100. The great thing about audio, that expensive. You don't need, obviously you need a computer, and you need a microphone. And I suggest using a USB mic if you're just starting out, because those are the easiest. You just kind of plug and play. There are a plethora of audio programs out there that you can use for free to record, including if you have a Mac, for example. We started our podcast recording in garage, and we used an Adobe Mac to record to because it's a little more robust. But that's the good news, Priscilla, for anybody that's listening that's thinking about a podcast, is that it's very inexpensive. It's free to post up onto somewhere like iTunes. Obviously, you're going to have to pay for hosting somewhere, because that's how people download it or stream it. But there's a lot of options that are very inexpensive for hosting.
When you say hosting, are you talking about it's free on iTunes? You mean hosting on, say, if you want it your website? But if you don't really want your website, because that way you're not getting. What websites do you recommend?
Yeah, so iTunes is just a directory. You can think of iTunes as a directory, basically, or the podcast app. All it is just a listing of all those. It'll connect you to the podcasts, but it doesn't actually hold them. Larry, I think you guys use Libsyn, yeah? Is that correct?
I was going to say Libsyn is kind of a, I was going to say people use SoundCloud. That's very simple. I'm not the most in-depth tech here, but I've been around the edges enough to know that, SoundCloud can still be very simple and set up a page and go. Libsyn is a little bit more work, but then you've got more options to plug, your specific plug-in, but Libsyn can live there, and then others, then you can connect that to iTunes or
Are you saying lib, L-I-B, and then S-Y-N? Libsyn?
Isn't it like library? I mean, isn't it like library sync or something? I mean, it's like combined words.
I think that's what it stands for, yeah. But yeah, I believe it's... And we use SoundCloud, which is also very plug and play and easy. We just want it easy. And you can pay $100 a whole year of unlimited hosting. I mean, there could be 1 million people that could listen to one of our episodes, and we wouldn't get charged any more by SoundCloud, which is awesome.
Oh my! So they're a free website. You can download your shows on there for free. Is that what you're saying?
We pay a yearly fee with them. I imagine that there are other services you can go monthly or yearly or whatever. But it shouldn't be too hard to find. And they shouldn't be too expensive.
Just Google it, how to start a podcast. Yeah. I'm sure somebody out there has given all the instructions. Now, real quick, what exactly, now I know Ira, you're in season 3. You guys said that you had an absolute blast recording it. I imagine every season is an absolute blast. So let's talk about season 3, 2 Guys, 1 Track. How many episodes did you make? What's your favorite episode and why?
Oh boy. Favorite episode. We do one episode per episode of the original series. So I believe there's 26 episodes in season 3 of the original series.
It's roughly that. They vary a little bit. Yeah, there's 25, 26, 27. I think the first season, they put the pilots in the first season, technically, so that's a little bit wider,
because the first season was like 30 episodes, or 29 or something like that.
If you don't 79 titles for the 3 years, right.
Yes. So, yeah. So that's how many episodes we recorded, one for each of the episodes in the third season. Favorite episode, there's so many highlights. There are so many. Well,
Priscilla, were you asking Ira what his favorite original series episode was, or what his favorite episode of his podcast?
The podcast, season 3 of 2 Guys, 1 Track. I did say that. I said season 3 of 2 Guys, 1 Track, but I probably cut out because I'm noticing there's a lot of cutout with this show. I hope that when you listen to that.
Of your show, Ira.
Some things there's like when you're talking there, like the whole lip sync thing was cut out, and at least on my end, I don't know if you're hearing that, but if I ask you to repeat something, I apologize because it got cut off on my. So,
yes, technology. I understand.
Yeah, I know. But season 3, it's a podcast. It's an audio podcast. So, season 3, 2 Guys, 1 Track. I was just asking, have you and Josh just discussed? Okay, well, this is my favorite episode, and then Josh is like, well, no, this is my favorite episode, or did you agree? And what was it your favorite episode? And then Larry, hopefully. Well, I don't know if season 3 is out yet, but I want to ask Larry what his favorite episode was and why too. So, Ira, you take the first question, and Larry, Dr. Trout.
Well, Yeah, season 3 has not actually been released yet. It's going to be released in April. We haven't announced a specific date yet, but tomorrow we're going to be revealing our artwork, which is something we love doing. But anyway, so if anybody's looking for season 3, it's not out yet.
Ira, you could give us a trailer, like a teaser, so you could say.
Well, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yes.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah.
Genuinely, though, the first thing that comes to my mind is the very first episode we recorded of season 3. So Josh and I come from an improv comedy background, and so we always try to do some sort of improv, playing off the fact that Josh has no idea what he's about to watch. And so I give him the title of the episode, and we do some sort of game with the title of the episode before we watch it together. And in the very first episode of season 3, we decided that one of the games we were going to play would be to come up with a song, have Josh come up with a song. And Josh comes up with a song for the first episode of season 3, which is Spock's Brain, which, if anybody is a Star Trek fan, they know is an infamous episode. And that is the first thing I thought of. The song he comes up with is amazing. The episode is amazing in the sense of our reaction to it as we're watching it, and the discussion that follows. So, and that's the very first episode of season 3.
Oh, that sounds good. I think now you have to forgive me, because I, like Josh, was introduced to Star Trek via my husband. I really didn't. So when you say his brain, is that the one where the brains were in those little tubes and they were, manipulating everybody?
No, I think I know what you're talking about. I think you're talking about the Gamesters of Triskelion, where they're different colors.
Yes.
We love that one too.
And they're betting?
We love that one too.
Oh, but that's not it. Spock's Brain. I can't remember what that's about. I'll have to ask Albert. But so you guys just kind of play. Do you play now? Is what we're going to hear for those people who have not listened to it yet. So when we go and click on it, are we going to actually hear excerpts of the show and then you commenting, or are you going to introduce the title, expect us to know what it's about, and then you're just doing commentary or editorializing?
Yeah. So we always start off kind of with hot mics. We're usually, because when Josh and I get together, we're just kind of a freight train. We were in a comedy group to begin with, and we just had chemistry together, and that's why we continue to work with each other. So we just kind of, it's like when you get gas, molecules inside a hot air balloon, we just start bouncing off the walls. So we usually just start rolling, and we talk about whatever is on our mind. Then I'll give him the title of the episode that we're about to watch together, and we'll do our little game with it. And then there's a little musical break that we take that kind of signifies in the podcast that we're watching the episode. And you will hear some excerpts of us watching the show with microphones on us as we're watching it, just kind of some highlights, a couple minutes of highlights of us watching the episode, and doing commentary as we're watching it, just naturally. And then we come back and we discuss the episode. And it's not all comedy. I mean, there's a lot of Star Trek that's very, very serious, that, a lot of big themes that show touches upon, obviously, since it's lasted for so long. And so we really kind of dive into the storytelling. We're both storytellers. Josh is a filmmaker, and I'm a novelist, and we really we break things down in terms of what we liked and what we didn't like, and what it made us think of, and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I sure hope you've covered one of my favorite episodes, and I can't remember the title, but all I remember is the line, "The man must continue." Tears just pouring out of my eyes when the lady said,
that's Metamorphosis.
Metamorphosis.
Yeah.
Oh, now that's a serious episode.
That is a sneaky episode.
Yeah.
It is one of the best of that show.
See
and
that?
I don't think it gets enough cred.
I'm not even a Trekkie, and I've already picked the best episode of the whole series. Look at that!
You have definitely earned your Trek badge.
I love it.
And by sneaky, you mean subversive, almost.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And now for fun, And now I know this was supposed to be a serious episode, but I couldn't help. I laughed so hard. I thought I'd crack a rib. The one where the woman is coming after all the people with her hands out, and she was trying to suck the salt out of them. The salt woman. What?
Oh,
remember?
Yeah.
What?
That's early on. That's early in the show.
What was the title of the episode?
The Man Trap. That was the very first one.
Man Trap.
If we're talking about the same show,
Yes,
the same
the
episode,
one
that was
where
the first one.
Yeah, she put
ever
her
shown.
hands on them, and it looked like, little round dots, and everybody had those round, perfectly round circles, like
Welts
they're
on
the
their
size
faces,
of
yeah.
they're the size
The
of silver
suckers.
dollars, the suckers, and you didn't know what she looked like. So you're thinking initially, she's got fingertips. She doesn't have big 50-cent piece thumb, fingers. So you didn't know that. And then you see her at the end, and then you see
the creature effect.
Yeah,
they
the
did.
creature.
Yeah, that bodysuit was terrifying.
Yeah, so that's why I was laughing, because I thought, what are they doing with those round 50-cent pieces? This is a woman with damn fingertips. But then when I saw it, I'm like, oh, it was the monster. No wonder.
It was a shapeshifter monster, even.
Yeah.
But Priscilla, it was the last of its kind. It was a hunted.
It was the
trying
buffalo.
to survive.
It
I
was
was-
the American buffalo.
It was so sad.
Or the
Now-
giant eel birds of Regulus 7 or something.
Oh my God, it was
Yeah,
so
yeah. Oh, that's a
Or
deep cut.
something.
That's a deep cut, Larry. I like it.
Or
Well,
whatever the other. It was the token alien backup to the human thing human audience in America could relate to. Then they had to throw in the alien one to make it sound roundabout. Yeah.
And then,
Make it sci-fi.
of course, the Captain Kirk doing where he has to do the roll when he's fighting the Gorn. He must have done like 27 rolls.
Oh yeah. We call that
the
Kirk
Kirk roll.
Kung Fu.
I-
the Kirk Kung Fu. It's a drinking game.
Oh, it was. I mean,
That's Shatner showing off his theater
Shatner?
chops. That's what we
Yes.
decided.
Yes, and I will be bringing that back up because I have. We had a guest, Joe Estevez. He's the uncle he's Martin Sheen's brother, and Charlie Sheen, Emilio Estevez. So he's going to be in a movie starring William Shatner and Christopher Lloyd, and he was a guest, and so he couldn't tell me too much, but it's a movie called Senior Moments, right? And so I tried to get him to talk about the Kirk role, and he said, when I come back in the new year to promote the movie, because they were shooting it in Palm Springs, he said, I'll tell you some stuff. He talked to Shatner. He's going to be sharing some Shatner, right out of Shatner's mouth, about his Kirk roles, about the roles he had to do. So I'm so excited to hear about that.
I'm in on that.
I'll let you know when the show's going to air. Now, real quick, because we got to get some Larry Dr. Treks in there.
Yes,
real
we
quick,
do.
Ira, you are the author of, oh my gosh, you do so much. When I was reading your bio, I said, how the hell do you do all this? You write sci-fi.
Not as much as Larry.
That
Not as
is
much as
true.
Larry is a true Renaissance man.
No one on this
Oh.
earth does as much as Larry. He is on
This is
something,
true.
and I want to know what. We need to do a DNA swab on him. Now, you write sci-fi books, Ira. You
I
have
do.
a daily
Yeah.
blog. Your wife, Liz, as actress, by the way, on Netflix is Disjointed. Let's
Yes.
give her some
That is
props.
correct.
Okay? Yay, Liz. We got to have Liz on the show. You got two dogs, Cooper and Coco. What
Yes.
the hell is your secret for time management, with the blog included? How do you organize this?
Oh
Seriously,
man,
I'm not kidding.
that's a very good question.
No, I'm serious, because if somebody wants to do an audio podcast and is in the same situation as you, maybe not minus the sci-fi book and the daily blog, but has the wife and the two dogs, maybe you can help them to say, okay, here's the secret for my time management, so you two can do an audio blog. Sorry, an audio podcast.
So the answer to that is I definitely get overwhelmed. I bite off more than I can chew sometimes. I've always been that way, though. I'm a project guy. I've always got to have several plates spinning in the air.
Mm-hmm.
The secret is There was, back when I was still focusing on acting several years ago, almost 10 years ago now. Jeez, I took this master class from kind of an acting guru, not in terms of like she teaches you how to do acting stuff, but more of like the business and mindset side of things. Her name is Dallas Travers, and I think she's still going, and she's amazing. But she really taught me a concept that has changed my life, which is do less more often. That is the answer to time management. Don't try to do everything all at once. Just do smaller things on a more regular, consistent basis. And that's how I get my stuff done, is I try, anytime I'm feeling overwhelmed, I try to focus on that mantra, do less more often. Then the other half of that is you really got to love what you're doing. Like I didn't mention this when you answered, like, how do you start a podcast? But my number one recommendation for anybody doing a podcast would be do a podcast about something you love that you could talk about for forever, because you can't fake interest. And if you're doing something you're not really interested in, it's not going to last.
That's a very good answer. Be prepared, Dr. Trek, because I know that's who we want to hear from too. Boy,
yeah, no, gauntlet throw.
I know that Larry is not a human. I think that is how he lives in Trekland, because there's no way you can do what he does. Now, real quick, I want to first start, Larry, because the rest is all about Larry, Dr. Trek, and because I want to make sure we get as much as possible. Remember, we got to order. End at 50, and I'm so sorry, but I swear I get in serious trouble. All right, so now let's start with Trekland Tuesdays Live. Now, Larry, this is on your Trekland Facebook page every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific. What does that mean? Does that mean you're doing a Facebook Live post? What are Trekland Live Tuesdays?
Right. Well, Trekland Tuesdays Live was just me wanting to be on camera without a lot of editing and be very regular and have little overhead. To throw out another piece of advice there are so many technical, there's so much laptop available, tech and apps and things you can do to get yourself out there. Once, like Ira said, once you find the thing you really love and you could talk about. And I have a blog. I've done video interviews that I edit and put up on my YouTube channel. But I wanted something easy to do and regular, and something apart from an audio podcast. Basically, what is it, like the George Ford, like set it and forget it, almost. Sit down, do live 15, 20 minutes, and then I do put a nice little title card avatar kind of custom thing on top of it. But it's basically, hey, come on and watch me live. And if not, Facebook is so simple. It lives there kind of like a spin-off of YouTube, and you can have an archive there. But it's basically my way now of talking about what's going on in Trek world, in Trekland. And the other thing I try to do is, and kind of akin to what Ira said, was there's so much duplication out there, even when you find a niche with so much digital platforming out there and available to people to use. I try to find, for lack of a better term, a niche within the niche. And if everybody in the world is blathering about the headline of the week, I try to take a step back and maybe put some context or go, connect something old to something new, and just try to find a slightly different angle, but not just different for different sake, but try to find something that adds something new to the pie. But that's what Trekland Tuesdays Live is. It's just me popping in for about 15, 20 minutes, and it's live Facebook, so people can get on and talk to you right then.
Okay, so what you do is
you can talk back and forth.
So you have a Facebook page, and you turn a camera on yourself, and then you click the video, and you go live, and you can. So it may be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And does Facebook cut you off at a certain time, or can you go unlimited with that?
I hear that. I usually go 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay.
And I have like an A story and a B story. But I've heard just recently that Facebook has a limit of 4 hours. So if someone is using Facebook Live, if they're doing like a workshop and they want to put it out live, the quickie, easy way to do it is Facebook Live it. But you can only do 4 hours at a time. But I don't push that. I don't push that.
And do you do it right from your home?
Uh-huh.
Do you do it from your home or your office? Can you don't have like some elaborate, I mean, I know you could do it wherever you want, but do you have like an elaborate backdrop or something like that? I
have my banner that I have at my table in my booth when I'm at conventions, and I have it on the wall, and then it's just my iPhone and one of those little stands that holds it, on a selfie.
See that, people? You can do you can do what Larry does. If it's a passion,
it's very eye-catching, I can attest.
Yeah. You can do exactly what Larry does. So check Trekland Tuesdays Out Live. I actually think I want to have a business meeting with you because I'm actually thinking about going in that direction for something that's more, camera oriented and where I can talk for 4 hours if I want to, and I can stop whenever I want to, and I don't have to be like stressed out. But I'd like to set up a business meeting with you, and I would pay you for your services. Are you on that? Are you available for consultation if someone wanted to talk to you and because Larry, you've been around and you know so much about this. Would you be available to people listening for consultation to do this?
I would. Now I have coaches that I absorb from too, but then I find out that I've just been doing this for about almost a year, and it's very easy and handy way to get on camera. And by going live, if you're halfway quick-witted and you have just a few notes, you can, if you can sync with that, if you look good doing that, it shows that you're a little bit, without having a guest to bounce off of, it shows that you can, carry 10, 15, 20 minutes that way. And if you can do it, it looks really good for yourself.
Absolutely. So, oh my God. I am so sorry, Larry. I just got 2 notices to wrap up the show. We got 3 minutes. I want to get, I know. Can you imagine? I got to live like this. Oh my God.
I'm shocked.
It would be good for people who had great time management skills. This is not me. I like to talk.
We're just going to have Larry back.
I need a pill. I want to get out real quick. Geek Nation Tours, big, hashtag LA to Vegas. It's the Trek Film Site Tour happening next August 2019, and your own Trekland Tour day trips around LA with your choice from a menu of Trek filming sites. Real quick, we got 2 minutes or else I am seriously in trouble. Let's get that out.
We don't want that. We don't want that. No, Geek Nation Tours is a company out of Canada. The guy, Cassidy, that I've worked with for about 6-8 years now. Every 2 to 3 years, we have a big week-long with options tour of Star Trek film site tours, Star Trek film sites around LA. But then we also do it the week before the Las Vegas big Trek convention. So we wind up doing things on the road and up in Nevada, Valley of Fire State Park, where Kirk was killed in that movie. So that's a lot of fun. That's a big 7 to 10 days trip, but then I also offer a day tour here called Trekland Tours, where I have a menu of sites, and people come in for for a day, and they pick two large places and 2 small places, and that's included. And I score. I have the history, but also we go. They can they can do photo ops. They can take pictures. It's what really brings it alive, especially if they're from around the country, around the world, and everything in LA is cool to them. So but that's a lot of fun.
I didn't know you did that. I have people coming in, family members and friends coming in, and is that something that's offered like every day, or do you do it once a month? Or
well, no, I mean it's like they get in touch with me and we set up a day.
Oh, yay! And
it's just a little boutique.
I love it. I'm so excited about that. I'm seriously that you are booked for my family coming in because they love Trek. How would we get in touch with you for that?
Just go to my website. There's a contact form there, but it's basically Larry at LarryNemecek.com. It's not too difficult.
LarryNemecek.com, and just send him a message. Yeah. Also, real quick to end, Portal 47 is Larry's monthly Star Trek backstage deep dive live and online with personal memories, unseen archives, and unheard voices. It's like a mini-con all year long, and you can go where no savvy fan has gone before. Larry, like Marsha. I got to tell you, you are absolutely phenomenal. You are an icon in this world of sci-fi. I'm sure Ira.
Oh, Priscilla.
No, I'm
here to that.
Ira, we certainly. And so again, Ira, thank you so much. I'm already a minute over. I'm going to get cut off any second.
My pleasure.
I thank you so much. And please, you guys have to come back maybe, at the end of the season, of season 3, and then we can talk about the favorite episodes. And maybe what we could do is like a little audio clip. And then we can talk about your favorite episodes. And that way we can have Josh back on so you and Larry and Josh can all be together. Like the 3 amigos, and we can have so much fun. So, okay,
Sounds
Larry,
fun.
Nemecek.com and 2guys1track.com. Did I do my good Shatner? That was Shatner. See, you didn't even know I was doing
perfect.
Shatner.
Oh, no, this is so good.
2 guys.
It was.
Track.com. Oh, and on that, we are going to say, both of you are going to end it with 2guys1track.com in your Shatner voice, and then we're out. So you go first, Larry.
Can I say mine?
Yes.
Can I say the trekfile.com?
Okay, go. And you, Ira.
2guys1track.com.
There you go. Thank you, Booth. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week on Question Reality. Bye.
You're listening to Question Reality with Priscilla Leona, right here on LA Talk Radio.